Hello friends, welcome to IT Articles. In this tutorial, we're gonna see how to create a simple HTTP server in Node.js. First, we'll import a HTTP module using a require function. If you want to see how require function works, you can find a video top right corner. Now, we'll be creating a HTTP server that we can do by calling a function create server on HTTP module. This function, if you see, take one argument known as request listener. So request listener is nothing but a function that takes two arguments, request and response. And this function is the one which writes to the response. As of now, we haven't write anything to the response. That's mean it will not return any response to the browser. Next, we have created one constant that indicates the port that we'll be listening or our server will be listening to. And next we call the listen function on the server by passing the port 4000. So now let's summarize again. First we import the HTTP module, then we create a HTTP server and pass the request listener. Then we started our server by passing the port. Server will create multiple events. Here 4 are listed: close when the server is closing, connection when client connects to the server for request or it makes the request, error, and listening. So here we are interested in listening. Listening is when servers start listening on given port, and now we are logging on the console that server started at port 4000. Let's remove this hard-coded value 4000 by variable which we have already defined. So now this code will start one HTTP server at given port 4000, and this function request response will be executed for every request made to the server. So now let's come to the console and start server by passing this file to the node. See, we got the response that server started on port 4000. So now let's open our browser and hit the port 4000. Let's open the DevTool to see what is happening. So let's refresh the page once again to see. If you notice, it says status is in pending, means we make a connection to the server and server is not responded yet. The reason is, if you come to the code, see this function is executing actually, but it's not writing anything to the response. So let's console something here in function just to make sure that this function is hitting every time we are making the request. Let's restart our server. See, you got the response immediately. The reason is request is still running. So let's close the request, close the server, and restart the server again just to make it sure. See, now we are making the request. So you got the log that got request from the client. Mean you are getting the request from the client, but we are not writing anything. That's why your request is in pending. So let's return some response. So that we can do by writing something to the response. So we'll use the write method, response.write, and let's return something like hello from HTTP server in Node. Next, we need to call the end function. Finally, this end function will flush whatsoever we have write in the response to the client. Line number 7 is actually same what we have done in line number 5 and 6. Come on console and restart the server once again. See, you got here your response, and the reason you got the to got request console log because on browser here we can see it made the to request. Here we are returning the single response for all. Now we'll have a condition on the basis of the URLs. So now we have if condition and we are returning the response that you are requesting the root of the website. And let's create another condition where we are checking if someone requests a login or something like website/login, then we are returning a different response that says you are requesting login page. So let's restart our server and come a browser and refresh our page. See, you got your requesting root of the site. Let's open the /login and see you got the request login page. So see, we have a both different response on the basis of the URL. So it's like a routing. So if you see, to make a routing, we need to create a such else if conditions. Let's create another condition when we are requesting user list. So here we have created a list of the user, and now let's write this to the response. So response.write, and finally now I'm stringifying this object. So json.stringify users. So let's restart our server and come back to our browser. So let's refresh these just to make all these are working fine. Yes. Let's open third tab and request user list. See, you got the response, but this is not the JSON. Let's open the DevTool and see it. See, in the response, we haven't got the content type as JSON. Why? Because we haven't specified the header. So if we want to return a specific header, that we can do by response.setHeader. And first thing is your property, and second is value. So now clear the console and restart our server and come back to our browser. Let's refresh this and inspect the response. See, you got the content type as application.json. Let's inspect the header of previous calls or the other calls just to make sure that it's not interfere with other calls. See, here we don't have the content type. That means it's working as earlier. We have set the header only for one call, that is user list. So we have some idea now how we can use the part of the URLs for the routing purpose, how we can set the header, and of course there's another thing, that is method. On the basis of method also we can do a lot of stuff. So let's console first, request method colon your URL, the URL that you made the request on. So we have modified the console message a little bit. Now restart our server. Let's refresh our page and come to the console. So here we can see it's saying all these are the get calls, and these are the these are the URL that we are making the request on. So just to see the post is working as expected, let's open the PowerShell, and here we'll using a invoke REST method in PowerShell. We'll pass the method as post because we want to make a post request, and we pass the endpoint. So here we can pass any endpoint, although I have just used the login. You can pass anything. Here we'll see if we get the post. We got the post method. So of course we can have a different endpoints, or we can have different routing on the basis of method and URL, in case if you are interested in that. If you have any doubt regarding this video, don't forget to post your question in comment box below. So that's all in this video, guys. If this video makes sense, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.